The morning haze was just beginning to lift off Pine Ridge when the quiet of the forest broke with the sound of heavy footsteps crashing through the underbrush. From my porch, coffee in hand, I watched as a woman in a bright pink pantsuit emerged from the tree line, waving a clipboard like a sword. Somehow, her neatly coiffed blonde hair had survived the tangle of branches. "Found you at last," she declared with satisfaction, stopping just short of the weathered post that marked the edge of my property. "I'm Patricia Whitmore," she continued, "president of the Willowbrook Homeowners Association, and you owe us 3 years of unpaid dues." I took a calm sip of my coffee and gestured to the boundary marker. "Your authority ends right there. This cabin is built on privately owned land, outside of Willowbrook." Her face turned a deep, blotchy red. "That's not possible. All homes in this region are part of our HOA." "Not this one," I replied. "You can verify it yourself with the county. All the records are public." She scribbled something furiously on her clipboard. "We'll see about that. And you are?" "Jake Morrison," I said, still seated. "And just so you don't waste more of your time, this is a fully permitted off-grid homestead. Solar-powered, rainwater-fed, composting toilet, the whole deal. Totally self-reliant, and completely outside your reach." Her eyes narrowed. "Off-grid or not, you're hurting our property values. I'll be back." 2 years ago, I bought this 5-acre slice of woodland precisely because it lay just beyond the edge of the Willowbrook development. After 2 decades working in corporate finance, I needed something different. Something quiet. The land was cheap, tucked away past where the paved roads ended and the suburban sprawl surrendered to trees. Building the cabin was a long, deliberate project. I filed every necessary permit with the county. The solar setup came from a Colorado company, the rain catchment system was designed by a local expert, and the composting toilet complied with all state regulations. I played by the rules because I knew living this close to suburbia would eventually attract attention. At first, things were peaceful. I spent my mornings tending a small vegetable plot, logged into consulting gigs via satellite internet, and greeted occasional hikers from Willowbrook who wandered past on the public trail that ran near my land. They were polite, often curious about the guy living out in the woods. That all changed when Patricia Whitmore took over as HOA president. Soon, the curious hikers were replaced by tight-lipped board members, snapping photos from the trail. Then the letters started arriving. The first, sent by certified mail, accused me of constructing an unauthorized building and demanded I submit architectural plans for approval within 30 days, or face fines. I ignored it. My land wasn't under their jurisdiction, no matter how extended they claimed it was. The second letter upped the threat, $50 per day in penalties. The third was a laundry list of alleged violations, disapproved exterior materials, unkempt vegetation, even improper lighting. Each message became more ridiculous than the last. Eventually, Patricia started showing up herself. She'd stand at the edge of my land, shouting questions. "Is your roof cedar shake? That's not an approved material. Those solar panels are reflecting into the community. You'll need to remove them." I'd wave from the porch, sip my coffee, and let her rant. It only fueled her irritation. One morning, she brought back up 3 other HOA members, none of whom looked thrilled to be there. "We're here for an official inspection," Patricia declared. "Of what?" I asked. "Your property, of course," she replied. "We need to verify you're following HOA standards." "You're welcome to inspect anything that belongs to your HOA," I said. "This land doesn't." She scowled. "Any property affecting the value of our homes is within our reach." "That's not how law works. You're free to check with a lawyer." Gerald, a jittery board member, leaned in toward her. "Maybe we should double-check the property lines," he said quietly. Patricia snapped at him. "Whose side are you on? This shack is dragging down our $1 million homes." "It's a cabin," I said. "And those homes border the forest. I'm just living in it." Then things escalated. The next certified letter looked more serious. Legal wording. Formal tone. Patricia had filed a lien with the county clerk's office. The document claimed my cabin was included in the original Willowbrook subdivision plan and that I owed 3 years of back dues, $500 a month, plus interest and late fees. Altogether, It came to $23,000. She'd tacked on another $10,000 for community beautification expenses due to the alleged blight caused by my presence. The lien warned that if I didn't pay within 30 days, foreclosure proceedings would begin. I set my coffee down, and for the first time, I got angry. Because filing a fraudulent lien wasn't just annoying anymore. It was illegal. The following morning, I drove into town to meet Martin Chen, a property rights attorney recommended by the county clerk, who had sounded sympathetic when I called about the lien. Martin examined my property deed, the original subdivision plans, and the lien Patricia had filed. After going through the documents, he actually laughed. "She filed this under oath?" he asked, clearly amused. "Claiming your property is part of the HOA?" "Apparently," I replied. "Your land isn't even remotely under their authority," he said, unfolding a large survey map. "It's zoned agricultural residential. Their development is in a planned community zone. Legally, there's a complete boundary between them. Filing a lien like this, under oath, is either a knowing lie or gross negligence." Then he grinned. "Honestly, she just handed us a gift." We submitted a formal complaint to the State Real Estate Commission and filed a motion to dismiss the fraudulent lien. Martin also drafted a cease and desist letter and prepared a countersuit for harassment and slander of title. The county clerk expedited our filing, and within a week, I got notice of a hearing. Patricia would need to appear and justify her actions under oath. The courthouse in Cedar Falls was a stately old building, full of dark wood and high ceilings. I arrived early in the one decent suit I had left from my finance career. Martin was already there organizing our evidence. Patricia showed up late, trailed by a lawyer who looked like he regretted every life choice that led him there. She wore another bright pink suit, but her usual self-assuredness had faded. Judge Helen Crawford, a firm woman in her 60s, spent several minutes reviewing the case files in silence. Then she looked up. "Miss Whitmore," she said, "do you have any proof that Mr. Morrison's land falls within the Willowbrook HOA boundaries?" Patricia's lawyer rose. "Your Honor, my client believed in good faith that the property was originally part of the community's development, based on proximity and its potential effect on neighborhood property values." Patricia cut in, ignoring his attempt to control the narrative. "It's right there next to us, Judge. That eyesore of a shack is visible from the walking trails. It has solar panels, there's no lawn, it's all overgrown. He's probably running a meth lab." "Objection," Martin said, even though the setting wasn't technically a trial. "Miss Whitmore." The judge responded icily, "Accusing someone of criminal activity without evidence is slander. I suggest you stop talking." Her lawyer tried to intervene, but Patricia shook him off. "I'm just trying to protect my community's investments." "Property rights outweigh perceived aesthetics," Judge Crawford shot back. "I've reviewed every relevant document. Mr. Morrison's land is definitively outside your HOA's jurisdiction. This lien is fraudulent." She turned to the clerk. "Vacate the lien. All associated fees and penalties are nullified." Then, addressing Patricia again, "Filing a false lien is serious. You swore you had legal authority. You did not. Furthermore, your continued harassment and defamatory statements today make you liable for civil action." She looked at Martin. "Mr. Chen, I assume you'll pursue damages?" "Yes, Your Honor. We're filing for compensation and injunctive relief." Judge Crawford nodded. "Miss Whitmore, I'm fining you $5,000 for misuse of the legal system and ordering you to cover all of Mr. Morrison's legal expenses. Any further attempts to assert control over his land will be treated as criminal harassment and fraud. Do you understand?" Patricia's face had gone from red to ashen. $5,000? But I'm just protecting. "You're protecting nothing," the judge cut her off. "You're using your position to intimidate someone for not conforming to your preferences. The fine is due within 30 days. This hearing is concluded." As we exited the courtroom, her lawyer was already putting distance between them, walking several feet ahead. Patricia stood alone in the hallway, clutching her clipboard, visibly stunned. 2 weeks later, I heard from my closest neighbor Tom, who actually lived inside Willowbrook, that there had been an emergency HOA meeting. Gerald, the same nervous board member who had tried to inspect my land, had distributed a petition calling for Patricia's removal. The meeting, according to Tom, was standing room only. Patricia tried to defend herself, insisting she was looking out for everyone's property values. But when the board announced the $40,000 in legal costs the HOA would have to cover because of her unauthorized actions, the crowd turned on her. The vote to remove her passed by a landslide, 137-3. As she stormed out, she shouted, "You'll all regret this when your property values plummet." The next day, she was officially served with a cease and desist order from her own HOA, forbidding her from representing them in any capacity. Tom later told me she tried to enter the HOA office that weekend, only to discover the locks had been changed. That same afternoon, I finished crafting a wooden sign from a fallen oak tree. I burned in the words myself, "Private property, not your HOA." I installed it right where she had first appeared out of the woods all those weeks ago. The next morning, I spotted her standing at the tree line, staring at the sign. Her clipboard was gone. We made brief eye contact across the distance. Then she turned around and walked slowly back toward her immaculate neighborhood, shoulders slumped. That day, she received the state's fine notice, $5,000 due immediately. According to Tom, her reaction was so loud that 3 neighbors called 911, thinking someone was being attacked. The police left after realizing she was just screaming at a piece of paper,